Hello and welcome to Tom Talks Shop. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make this inset pyramid molding right here. This is a study I'm working on. It's not actually a piece per se. There's a bunch of different elements we were working out for a larger project we're working on, and we wanted to put these in the carving, yes, in the relief carving. And I looked at, oh, that's easy. Well, it wasn't as easy as I thought. You can see these over here, they don't look nearly as good. I came up with a really good system, and by the time I got this one, which is the one we made in the video, they look very uniform and quite nice. So I'm going to share my system with you, which is pretty simple. And there's actually, if you are newer to woodworking, there's a lot of simple skills to be developed here. And all you need is a couple of chisels and well, I used a push knife, but any kind of a marking knife or anything will work. In fact, you can even use a utility knife, would work the same way I used mine. So if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you. Okay, what I wanted to do first is just, rather than show me laying this out, because then you wouldn't see anything anyway, is show my layout. So how I came up with this layout for the pyramid was I determined my width. Here is my outer border that Sukey had already laid out right here. This line, as you can see, this lettering and everything else here, this was done on that. And the area is a little bit wider than that, but we had come up with 1 inch on the other side. So I used a 1-inch chisel, and I made a couple of tick marks, one here, here, and I rinsed and repeated on the line down here and here. And then I used a straight edge to snap these two lines. They actually came out a little further. And then I just went along the line, marking my lines with the 1-inch chisel. It's not perfectly accurate, but it's close enough for our purposes. Each of these, I believe there's 8 there, I didn't count them. Each of these 8 blocks. Then once I had that, I drew the blocks on here. And then with a square, this outer edge is square enough for our purposes. And then I created a cross in this case I used a speed square, but here at each end. And then I created one angle going the other way. So this allowed me to find my approximate center. Now this isn't perfectly centered necessarily, but what I wanted was them all to be in a line. I don't care. The eye is going to follow the line, not that they're each perfectly centered with the outer edge. So each point we have an intersection here gives me my top of my little pyramid as we go down. And with that, then I have a very simple layout. Then the last thing I did was I just marked out all the waste around the pyramids, like here and here and along this line, that needed to be removed before I get started. So with that, I'm going to take my push knife and I'm going to start going around the lines. First I'm going to do is trace around my outside, just freehand. Around my waistlines, and I'm also going to trace along this line. Put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go along here, easy peasy. This is a carving, so we're not looking for absolute perfection, joinery perfection here. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing over on this side, not a big deal. Now, I'm going to mark between my boxes. And the easy way to do this, since we use the chisel, is just to lay it in the line, give it a quick little whack. Okay, I'm going to I've marked and kind of scored everything here, and I'm just going to hog a little bit of this waste off real quick. Plus, I actually think I need to go just a little bit deeper there. In something like this, depth is always just a matter of, well, it is what it is, and whatever your taste is. And I'm just going to use my chisel to start with this. break away the waste without getting too close to my chop lines. You can use a wider chisel, but it makes you work harder. Okay, I've cleaned all the waste away, and I've actually lowered the floor of my carving on this side a little bit. And you'll ask, well, how deep is deep enough? As long as you're not poking through, you're fine. Because my rule is, go gonzo or go home. Okay, so what I'm going to do is my first one, and I typically like to start at the outer edge because I can kind of see my edge better, is I take my push knife, or any knife, but I'm going to use my push knife, and I'm going to score that pretty good. And to start with, I'm actually going to start my first one just carefully with the push knife. Once I've done the first one, I'll probably do the rest of them with the chisel, but this one I'm going to do this way. And then you score down. Get in there. Get that little chip out. Score down again. Now I'm going to take the chisel and I'm going to start cutting down to what's going to be my stop depth. And this is a matter of taste. If you were making it in a trim strip, it'd be a little different, but this isn't. And you'll have to keep working along here with your knife as well, keeping it from tearing out. You see that all right? Okay, and you just use your chisel, working, try not to do the whole width at once unless you're got really soft wood or you're a lot stronger than me. Pushing in and then taking the chisel and breaking it out. Now I'm getting pretty close to my center, so I'm going to steepen my angle a little bit so I'm not all the way to the top mark. I'm going to go a little bit more, so at least I'm sort of matching the other side. And let's see, we can even go just a tiny bit more, I think. Score that guy out. Now that's probably about as deep as I want to go. Oh. Now I'm leaving, you can see there's the edge of the cut. I'm leaving an 1/8 of an inch or so from the center to there, and I'll kind of do that on the other side as I work my way down. And then when I'm finishing up, I'll pare to the center, just so that gives me a little bit of wiggle room for keeping everything nice and clean. So now that I've done that one, I'm going to score my next cut. Get that little piece of waste out of there. All right. Score that a little better, and again, start my cut. You notice I'm just continuing going the same direction. Now I'm going to take my chisel and just work my way down into the other one. A little care is needed here so that you don't knock the whole top of the other one off. You don't want to do that. Otherwise it's game over, especially since this is not an applique strip. All I'm doing here with the knife is just cleaning that little dirty bit of waste, and I'm kind of scoring the next run. And keep your end grain, your grain that's in line, just score it just a little bit so that it doesn't tear out. Just keep working down the line. And if you get a spot like that that's hard, don't be afraid to use them out. Okay, I've got everything done on that side, and I've got these points along here are all approximately the same depth. They're not going to be exact, and we're not going to worry about it. When we get to doing the final, then you kind of can adjust it a little bit so that all your corners look correct. So I'm just started this corner and I'll work my way back. A little point I'm going to make, I forgot to make it the first time, is when you use your chisel, use it bevel up in the paring position. It'll work a whole lot better for you. If you use it bevel down, it's going to tend to dive a bit more. If you're using it bevel up, it tends to just kind of lift and then round over, and that's more what you want for this. So I'm just going to just get started. Just start peeling back like I did on the other side. This one, you just have to make a really wild guess because you don't have any reference point. I'm just steepening it till it's approximate. I'm going to take one more steepening cut with it. For now, I may want to take a little bit more off, but not yet. Ew. During this part of the adventure, you don't worry about getting your facets perfect. You just want to get them close. They're not going to be perfectly flat. You can flatten them out when you get going. What we're looking for here is just to remove the waste into something that is starting to look like a pyramid. It isn't a pyramid yet. It's just starting to look like one.
Right now it's a pup tent.
Yeah, right now it's a pup tent. Oh, and I'm also going to mention the grain is running this way, so I'm doing it, all the cross grain cuts first. And again, I'm paring back until I get within about 1/8 of my center line. Also, when you're doing the second round and you already have a floor established, you can just start it and just take little bits off like that. It goes pretty quick. It's just the foundation cuts are slow. All right, from here, it's pretty much rinse and repeat till you're all the way to the end. So we'll bring everything back in when we are ready to cut the next facet. Okay, so this is kind of a rinse and repeat of what we've already done, but we're going to cut. This is just a matter of semantics, but I'm going to start cutting to the outside out to the valley here. So I just hold the chisel in one hand. In this case, I'll be holding it in my left, and then just make kind of sawing cuts across like this. Trying not to cut too deep. Get close to your depth, watching right here and right here, but don't go all the way down. And I'm getting really close to the center there, so get back. That's getting me almost there on the outside, almost there. And then I just keep rinsing and repeating here. What's important with this, instead of trying to push it straight like this, is you kind of make a cut like that. You'll get a much smoother cut. If you don't, it's just going to tear the wood. And if you're cutting a softer wood, like pine or fir in particular, but some certain hardwoods too, it'll really tear badly. This wood's a little bit tear prone, but not real bad. Also, the other trick you can do is I'm turning my chisel slightly to the right or the left so that I'm not cutting completely across as I'm bringing that up. And again, I'm coming up just real close to my center line. I'll do one more here before we pause. Oops, almost went past the top dead center there. All right, we'll pause and we'll come back here in a minute and we'll turn around to the other side. We're getting down near the finish line. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my chisel and I'm just going to score the top of that guy just a bit. Well, if I can get it in there. I'm going to go down and do all of them real quick. This takes a second. Then I'm going to start here in the back. You can go either way. I'll just start back here. It should be easier to see. Yeah. And then it's kind of the same trick as before. You use the chisel and you kind of saw back and forth as you go. Now this is a little different because you're up against this other side. So you'll have to keep changing angles and or using a push knife to clean it out. I find the push knife usually answers better once you've scored it the first time. And we just go back and forth, kind of sawing it as you go. A little bit more. And at this point, I'm going to do one more and then I'll show you how you clean a couple of them up. Actually, I'll do two more in just a second. Okay. Now I've got these two almost done. So I can see here that this outer one's got a little bit too much, and I'll try to do this. Hopefully that one camera can see. So I'm just gonna go and take just a tiny bit off. Try not to block things too much. And again, this is all, a lot of this is gonna be seasoned to taste. Just get it as flat as you can get it. Okay, now I can see the top. My corners are coming to good. They're all good except right there. So I'm going to take and just pare that and clean all the way to the bottom of the valley. So that you get a nice sharp break there. And then I'm going to try to do this backhanded. I need to just flatten this one a little bit. It's not bad, but it's kind of rounded over. Left a little bit of a mark. Hard to do it that way. And actually, I'm going to have to change my position. But I need to just take a little bit off of that guy. I don't think the camera is going to pick this up very good. This is just a matter of, just got to eye it. We don't have to have absolute perfection. Now, I need to take just a tiny bit off that side. Same thing. And this is when in doubt, almost done too much. Make sure that your chisels are just shave sharp for this part. And then I'll clean just a tiny bit off there on the outside. And that one needs just a tiny bit more up the top. There we go. That's two. And I'll finish these and then we'll get a picture of the finished trim.